you know, one of the hardest things when you become a doctor is the realization that there's so little that you can do. But as a Christian, there's always hope, and that's what makes practicing medicine so rewarding, because you can offer that hope to people, and it comes in different ways. And God showed me how even just the smallest thing can make such a big difference in somebody's life. And when I was in residency, I used to hate delivering bad news. I didn't want to tell anybody that they were going to die or that they had cancer, and if I had the option, I would always have my senior resident do it instead of me. And I remember this one time, there was this patient who came in, and he had colon cancer, and he was in the end stages of it. It had already spread throughout his body, and he had said he didn't want any supportive measures to keep him alive. And I think he was just admitted, maybe because of pain control. I can't even remember what. And within a day, he was pretty much in a coma. And I just remember the end of the third day that he was in there. I had been on call all weekend long, and then now this was Monday, and I had been working since 7 in the morning, and it was 7 o'clock at night, and it was time for me to go, and I get this call saying that his oxygen levels have come down to 70%, and you know, normal, you want to try to keep people at least above 88 or 90%, and so I put a mask on him and stuff, and was ordering a chest x-ray, but I felt like I should go talk to his wife and tell her what's going on so she can be prepared. And so I went up to her and I just said, I'm sorry, you know, this is what's going on, and if you want somebody to be here, you should call them, because I don't know how much longer he's gonna live. And then I told her I was gonna be leaving, well, and the night doctor was going to be taking over, and she's like, please don't leave, I feel so much better when you're here. And I just remember thinking, I am so tired, I can barely function. All I'd had was one granola bar all day long, and this is like the third day in a row that I was working these long hours, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And I just told her, I'm so sorry, I can't stay, but I can pray with you. And so as the portable x-ray machine is coming in, we're just holding hands and we're praying. And the next day I had clinic, so I didn't actually see her. But the day after, I went to work, and my attending, while we were doing rounds, he said, did you hear what happened? It'll bring tears to your eyes. So this is a patient who's been in a coma for 4 days, and his oxygen levels are so low that even a normal person is not going to wake up. But right before he died, he apparently sat up in bed, turned around, he looked at his wife, and he said, I love you. And then he died. And I was like, wow, God, that was so you. Only you could have done something like that for them, for his wife. And another time, I had a patient, and I didn't want to see him either. I would always have a senior resident go see him because he had prostate cancer, and he'd come in for pain management. And I just felt horrible that here's this guy, and he has metastatic cancer, and even though we can't cure him, can't we at least make his pain go away? And I just felt so useless and helpless, and so that's why I didn't want to see him. One day she was off, and so I had to go see him. And when I went and saw him, I felt like I have to offer something, and so I offered to pray. And so we just joined hands together and we prayed. And the next day was Friday, and I actually had the weekend off. And right before I left, I thought, you know, they're not going to be here when I come back, and I just want to say goodbye. So I still had my backpack and everything on. The last thing I wanted to do was just to go and say goodbye to them. And as I walked in, their daughter says, oh, Dr. Jan, we were hoping you would come by. And she said, you know, we've been praying all this time that a Christian be involved in our Father's care, and yesterday you were an answer to that prayer. And I just want to share those stories to say, you know, we want everybody to be healed and everybody to be good and healthy and to live forever. And of course, that's the ideal. But even the smallest things that we do can make such an impact in people's lives. And just the simple act of praying for someone was an answer to their prayer, and it made the whole process so much better for them. And so I just want to encourage you to do things like that, because it really does matter, and makes a big difference in people's lives.